Sex Talk, Erica Miley, 'cause sexuality is tough. And okay, sex just isn't good enough, no. Sex Talk with Erica Miley.
Hey folks, welcome to Sex Talk with Erica Miley. Erica Miley here. I have a wonderful guest. Amanda, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, Erica. Thank you so much for having me. I am Amanda Testa, and I am a sex, love, and relationship coach. Also, mama to a 6-year-old daughter and wife to my sexy hubs and host of the Find Your Feminine Fire podcast as well. And sex, love, and relationship coaching is what I do, but truly awakening women to their sexual power, confidence, and worthiness is who I am. I really feel my goal is to help these busy entrepreneurial women, or just overwhelmed women who we all are burning the candle at both ends so often, just ditch that guilt and overwhelm and live a life with a lot more pleasure and fun.
I love Amanda because she is speaking directly to me. As a female entrepreneur who burns candle at both ends all the time, you're speaking my gospel.
Yes, we definitely are on the same wavelength, sister.
So, Amanda, I really would love for you to tell the listeners about how you came to be a sex, love, and relationship coach, how you really started to embrace this role that you have found yourself in.
Yeah, happy to share. So my story, like many, began with my own personal journey and my own personal experience. And it started for me when my daughter was around 18 months old. And I remember waking up most days feeling super resentful, feeling really annoyed at everything. And on the outside, everything looked great. I, at the time, was teaching workouts to moms. I was very involved in my community. I was doing all kinds of things that are quote unquote right for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just remember one morning, like stumbling into the bathroom, I was grumbling and kicking toys out of the way, just muttering to myself, all resentful, like, I'm the only one that ever does anything around here. But I did get to the mirror, and I just remember looking in the mirror and just feeling so just numb and disconnected from the woman looking back at me. And it was the worst feeling. And I just remember thinking, something's got to change. Like, this cannot be my life. And so I decided in that moment that I would just do whatever it took to find myself again and to really be open to what that would be. So I just started following these little breadcrumbs that came across my path. And one of those breadcrumbs happened to be the Tantric Institute of Integrated Sexuality, and starting working with my teacher and mentor, Layla Martin. And I first started working with her through this course. I don't even know how I found it. But again, I was open. And I just remembered thinking, oh, this looks like something that'll spice things up in the bedroom. And little did I know, it was so much deeper than that. And
That's so wonderful.
Right. And through that work, I just realized, like, wow, our sexuality is a huge piece of who we are. It's a huge missing key in personal growth and development. And like all the things I have learned, I just thought to myself, why are women not taught these things? Like, no wonder we all suffer in silence.
Preach.
Right? And so I was like, I'm making this my mission. And I decided to do that and became certified. And, this is now what I do because I just know how vitally important this is. And we just don't talk about it enough. So I am grateful to you and all the work you do as well. And having this podcast and just being able to talk about these things.
Yes. I mean, I think that's why I was drawn to you, and especially your Facebook group. And we'll get to that here in a second. But like, just I think that woman that you described in the mirror, I think every single one of us out here who have dealt with postpartum, who have dealt with what the reality after you become a mom, what that actually looks like, and what it means to, you mean you want me to have a sex life after this? What are you talking about? I don't even know I didn't know what that meant to begin with. And now I have to know what that means after having a child. That is such a tough road. And you are so correct. So many of us suffer in silence. Since we both work with people around sexuality, and you have already talked about the power of what that has brought to you in your life, and embracing femininity and embracing your own sex life. How has that changed your life? How has it changed the people that you have worked with?
That is such an awesome question because I would have previously considered myself a personal growth and development junkie. I don't know if you can relate to what that is, but that is, You're going to read all the books. You're going to take all the courses. You're going to go to all the seminars. You're going to learn all the things, all in the head, a lot of it. And so I was just always trying to get my hands on anything to be better. I was in corporate sales my whole career prior to my daughter being born. So, there was that constant striving and like pushing to be better and what can be the next thing I can learn. And yeah, exactly. And realizing it was so based on just the head up. It had not like I never brought my body into the equation. And even through my own personal trauma, I went to therapy for many years, which was very helpful. And I did find like doing additional deeper work using my body, like really somatic healing, just gave me so much additional healing and body acceptance that I didn't even realize was possible. And so I know like that was a big key for me is like, wow, it's not all in the head. Like, yes, we have all these great grandiose ideas, but do we actually take the time and the intention to like embody that? And what does that mean? And how do you do that? Because it's very challenging when you're always managing a million things, taking care of everyone else's needs, trying to have a relationship, everything else. I mean, it's easy to fall to the bottom of the list. So you don't even often put yourself on that. And really learning to switch that off and dropping down into your body through, and its techniques are simple. Maybe it's like just doing some breath work or doing some listening to your, paying attention to the sensations in your body. Like these kind of things are simple, but we just become very disconnected from it in our modern life,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Like so much of my own work, and I know the work that you do and you've done with yourself, I've done with myself, and we have to continue to do. That's the other part of this. I want to pause on the body work part of it, that the connection to the body is so important because so much of what the culture and what media tells women is to disconnect from your body, and your body is wrong. Your body is it should be thinner, it should look a certain way. And or during pregnancy you disconnect from your body, or you've experienced sexual assault and you just disconnect from your body. There's so many reasons as women that we disconnect from our physicality.
Exactly. And, there is a wonderful colleague. Her name is Dr. Valerie Baker, and she's got this great theory around patriarchal stress disorder, which I love this because honestly, I think a lot of us don't realize how our conditioning deeply affects us. And, the oppression that women have faced, we have been taught to be afraid of our bodies. We have been taught to not trust our guts. And it's a true symptom. I mean, it's actually a real thing, right? It's not just in our heads. That's why so many women struggle with feeling not enough and feeling like no matter what we do, we still don't get wherever there is, right?
Yeah. The clients I tend to attract the folks who've been through a serious bout of perfectionism, or they have lived the life of perfectionism and put that shield up to try to look like this thing that culture, or they've created these expectations for themselves. And I think a lot of that healing does come back to the body and coming back to it. And it is a lengthy process and a continual process. So if embracing that intuition, embracing that body love, that has that certain level of intensity. So where do you think folks should begin, or where do you begin when you work with folks?
Like you said, it can be a journey, and just kind of understanding and accepting where you are always is the first step. And then really kind of getting clear on where it is you want to go. Because I find so many times with women who are just so busy and overwhelmed, taking care of everyone else, their desires don't even get thought about. Right. So like really thinking about what do you want and why? And is it truly what you desire, or is it what, society has told you to desire? Or, and with our bodies, it's the same thing. It's like we have been constantly conditioned to, even if you go to the grocery store, you can't help but like see all the magazines and subliminally, think that, oh, to be beautiful, I have to look like this. If I have curly hair, I have to straighten it. If I have straight hair, I have to curly it. If my butt's too big, I need to do this. If my butt's too small, I need to do this. I mean, it's like there's no winning.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so I think, and part of it to me really begins with just like learning to nourish your nervous system on a very basic level. And there's simple things you can do. I mean, as simply as just like learning to kind of be able to just gently stroke your face or whatever you enjoy. Like I'll invite you to be curious what that is for you, what feels good, and just kind of soothing your nervous system, maybe just doing some breathing, like little things like that to start, just being like, okay, I am pretty awesome at what my body can do. And then you can take it from there. Going deeper is really kind of it's a process like you mentioned, but there's ways to just kind of really accepting and loving the whole way, like kind of re-examine maybe the stories you heard coming along and offer yourself a new perspective through self-pleasure even. A lot of us, that's a really important piece, and that can be different for everyone, right? It can be masturbation, and I don't love that term because of the root of the word is like to deface with the hands or something like that. And I really like self-pleasure because it is about what makes your body feel good, what makes your nervous system feel good, and exploring what that is. And like the more you do that, the more you start to just appreciate yourself. And, then you can start by like just really starting to look at yourself with curiosity and openness and starting to maybe be less judgmental and let that voice take a break for 5 minutes. And you can just even tell it, all right, I appreciate you pointing out that you think that my thighs look cellulite right now, but for now, I'm going to just look and appreciate what I can about my body, or just notice what I look at without any judgment. Because it can just start with that. And eventually, the more you do that, then you can start to have more of acceptance. And then that builds to love. And, those kind of simple things are easy to do, but easy not to do as well, right? I mean, it's easy to just take a quick shower and like get in and out. But you could take an intentional minute or two and like intentionally send like gratitude and acceptance and love to your body as you bathe. You can, really drop into that experience and enjoy the smell of the soap and enjoy the hot water and enjoy having 2 minutes to yourself, really intentionally making that experience a sacred time. And it doesn't have to be a long time. Like it's just putting intention around things you're already doing to shift your experience.
That intentionality and being able to meet your body exactly where it is right now and understanding that it deserves the compassion and tenderness that you are describing right now. I think is so on point. The tenderness and caring for your nervous system. The fact that you said that, I just think that is so on point, because I think sometimes people hear therapists or they hear coaches and they think, oh, well, that's woo woo. Here's the deal. And there is some serious, significant science around what mindfulness can do for you.
Oh my gosh, so much so. I talk about this all the time. I was actually talking about this with a family member the other day. It's like, it's really unfortunate in our society that we don't view mental health as part of our overall health and wellness. I mean, because it's all connected. Our sexuality is a huge part of our health, our mental health, our physical health. Like it's all so connected. And, kind of learning that we need to take it apart from these little silos and really understanding that, yeah, it's important to look at the whole.
We will often compartmentalize, or at least believe we are, because most of the time that compartmentalization doesn't work. It's like I describe it to my clients all the time. It's like when you try to push down your feelings or compartmentalize everything, it's like trying to put a trash can over a geyser. Eventually, it will not work. Quick break from the action, folks. Action. I just want to tell you about my Patreon. Every week, I bring you guests and seriously, lots of sex nerdery. Help me keep doing that by becoming a supporter. What do you get in return? Cool perks. For real. I am going to be doing shout outs, stickers, a bunch of stuff. So check it out at ericamiley.com/Patreon. That's ericamiley.com/Patreon. I hope to see you and see more of you by becoming a Patreon. Thanks, guys. When you think about self-love, and I'm not even just thinking about like self-pleasure, because there's lots of messages of embracing the self right now, but what does that mean to you, and what do you try to communicate in the Facebook group? Maybe it's a good time for us to talk about that too.
So I do a lot around this in my Facebook group. It's called Find Your Feminine Fire group on Facebook. And, because that's one of the things that I see so much struggle around is just embracing ourselves and loving ourselves as we are. And I think for me and my journey, like it's been a long one. I mean, I literally hated my body for most of my life. I had suffered from eating disorders. I just had zero confidence for the longest time. And a lot of it stemmed from what I believe is not knowing any tools to transform that. And the more I realized I wanted to change that, the more I started learning tools. And, like you mentioned, it takes time, but like for me, self love is like embracing who we are and really understanding that we are. This might sound a little woo, but I'm gonna back it up with some solid things here. Realizing that we really truly are divine creations. Like we are this unique life force. We have a reason for being here, and when we can connect to that, it's sometimes hard to do. But when we can connect to that at a root level, then we realize that, yes, we are worthy just as we are. Part of this process is releasing a lot of the conditioning that you've received over the years, like gently peeling the layers off and letting that radiant you kind of express more and more, like feeling more confident in being able to dress how you want or say what you want when you need to say or set healthy boundaries for yourself so that you don't get yourself in situations where you're resentful or not taken care of. There's all these things that we do because we are kind of holding ourselves back. And that was me. I was just trying to please everyone else. And with that, I was miserable. And that's part of the reason why I was so unhappy in my life. And I would numb out in every way possible, but I didn't know what else to do. And so that's what, and it's kind of learning to listen to that voice inside and being like, okay, what is it I'm not trying to feel right now? What is it I'm trying to avoid? And learning that, yes, I can hold whatever is coming up because if I couldn't, it wouldn't be coming up. And that's why it's so wonderful to work with a professional who can give you some of these support around this because it's something we're never taught coming along. Right. And so the more we can do that, and then the self-love starts to come because you start to realize, wow, my body's pretty amazing. Wow, I can do amazing things. Wow, I'm pretty smart. Wow, I've done all these amazing things in my life. Wow, maybe I could just kind of go back through and give myself all this love that I didn't get and like nourish my inner child with love and all these tools you can learn that are so healing and really help you to be like, damn, I'm pretty freaking awesome.
That's right. That's right. You just did an event. It's already passed, so sorry, folks out there. The full moon event that you had in Facebook, which I was just like, oh, this is just all the things. I love all the things about it. I know you have an event coming up about, I think, embracing abundance. Is that correct? Tell me a little bit about it.
So I have an event I'm doing, and it's called Wealthy, Worthy, and Confident. And it's the key to embracing your abundant goddess because we all have that within us. And this, and I do feel a big part of like bringing in abundance and bringing in what you want. It really comes from connecting to our desires, learning to gently integrate the parts of us that aren't in alignment with that. And you do that, it's a simple process, but it's like really listening with the mind and like kind of feeling with the body as well, and kind of really understanding how to know when something's coming up in resistance and how to integrate that. Because we can't just always try to push things away, because if we do, they're just going to get louder and louder until we pay attention to them. So it's like learning that, and then learning how to get yourself in a pleasurable state or in like a state where you can speak to your subconscious mind. So our primal brain is like our basic functioning, and a lot of our subconscious lives in our body, and this way we can speak to that is through ritual and through, getting into our bodies and breath work and pleasure and all these things. And so when you learn how to do that, you get to these great states where you can kind of turn off that part of your brain that's like, oh, this is crazy. Oh, this is kind of stupid. Oh, I need to be going to the grocery store. It kind of quiets that part of your mind. So when you're thinking about what you want and you're in this right mindset, you've got everything in alignment, then you can get clear on your next action steps, because action is a huge part of it. Like you have to do things. You can't just like sit around and hope and pray. You have to actually take steps. So this process really helps you do all those things so that you can easily bring what you want into your life and manifest what you want. And I love that because abundance is just part of who we are, and we get disconnected from that again through our conditioning and all those things. But just like knowing that when we can shift our mindset around what's possible for ourselves and like really shift how we feel about ourselves and knowing that we truly are worthy and deserve what we want, then you actually can bring those things in, because honestly, that's where a lot of the blocks lie in getting it.
I really liked what you said about the numbness. And the numbness and the disconnection going together. And with my clients, I often am talking to them about this, the numbing and how we think we're numbing only the negative things that we really want to not feel. When in reality, we numb everything. When you numb in any way, you are numbing everything. You're numbing pain, but you're also numbing joy. And I think you saying that, I think that's really, really important, that when you allow yourself to be present with whatever it is, you are also teaching yourself that guess what? You can withstand it and you can get through it. Amanda, I mean, I appreciate everything you're doing right now. So how does people find you in this world?
Yes. So you can find me obviously at the Facebook group, Find Your Feminine Fire group. Have a podcast, Find Your Feminine Fire. My website is amandatesta.com. And I actually have if you'd like to kind of try out some of this self-love for yourself, you can go to amandatesta.com/sensuality. And I have a beautiful practice that just kind of really helps you drop into your body. You can check that out. Again, it's amandatesta.com/sensuality. And yes, I'm also on Instagram, AB Testa. So all the usual spots you can find me.
All the socials. I appreciate you being willing to come chat with me today. And folks, let me tell you, get into what Amanda's doing, because I am in the Feminine Fire group and I appreciate all that she gets in there, and she does lives all the time. Jump in there. There is so much to connect with, and there's a wonderful community to connect with there. Thank you again, Amanda. I appreciate it so much. Folks, all of this information will be in the show notes. And thank you for sticking around, and we will see you next time. Thanks for listening, folks. Please rate and review on iTunes. That helps this podcast get found. If you leave a 5-star review, let me know about it on any social media, and I'll shout you out on the podcast. You can find my website at ericamiley.com. You can find me on Facebook, the Gram, and Twitter. See y'all next time.